Hello. Welcome back to 444 Keys to Wisdom. So, if this information is helpful for you, you can hit the like button. But I promised someone I would do a video about North and South nodes, okay? I'm going to do my best to simplify this as much as I can, okay? Because this is a concept that kind of it can take years to learn. Excuse me. Sorry, allergies. So, okay, so here we go. Here is literally the keys, the map to becoming unstoppable. This is, for anyone that has any religious background, those that, understand where, you're being taught that, you go through a series of tests in life and, like, oh, God is testing me again and da-da-da-da-da-da. But you're never told what you're being tested on. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you may be able to, intuitively discern what it is, and sometimes you can't, but there are specific tests, okay? There are specific states of mind that we are here to overcome in order to reach our personal heaven, our personal Godhead, okay? This is where you reach your personal throne and you become unstoppable. You don't have to work a lot for a lot of things. I mean, you have to work hard. Forgive me for that. You have to work hard, but you don't have to chase a lot of stuff. Okay. Things come to you. This is where you begin to attract, and you don't have to constantly chase things. But, and this can be done at any age. It doesn't matter how old you are. You're never too old to begin your journey. Okay. But you have to go through some things, okay? And a lot of people that transcend religion, organize religion, and step into their own individual path spiritually understand what I'm going to explain to you. And this is one reason why we're outcasted a lot, because it's just simple lack of understanding. If you have not been processed and gone through these motions, you're not going to understand why a certain person has to make a certain decision. They know why they have to, but the average person not going to understand. And so what do people do when they don't understand? They fear it. Okay. They fear things they don't understand. And then they become intimidated because they don't understand. It maybe goes against something that they were taught. And so what do? They attack, right? They don't understand your decisions, but here's where you cannot care about those things. Okay. Here's where you have to really step into your own uniqueness and have courage to stand on your own and what you're supposed to be doing. But that happens when you finally make the decision to see something different. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people always want to know about money and love and stuff like that. But, everybody wasn't born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Okay. Some of us wasn't born into money. I know I wasn't. I was born in the projects, lived in the projects for several years. You know what I'm saying? And so not too long. I'm only a brand new homeowner over the last few years, but it took a lot to get there because the DNA I was born into was not encoded for that. I had to, you're born into families and DNA codings that you have to really disrobe over the years to get back to your original blueprint of who you're supposed to be. If you have Egyptian, blood in you, you have to, Egyptians they weren't just what people were taught, that they were poor and all this and those. They had money, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were gods and goddesses. And so to get back into that energy and to be able to live like that on this earth, you have to literally recode your DNA back to its original source. Its original, or it's back to its origin. Okay. And everything begins with the creator. Everything begins with God, right? And so in order to regain your God rights upon this earth, you have to be process through certain mindsets, because it's your thinking, it's your mind that creates your life. Okay? So how you think is how you create the things around you. All right? And so it's interesting because in some research years ago, I learned that, there were some women that had books of the Bible that were purposely removed by scholars because they didn't want women to understand just how powerful that they were, and that they had the same rights to create just like a man. Organized religion is patriarchal, and so even you can look it up on National Geographic and everything, but Mary Magdalene, like the only women that they allowed their books to be printed were stories of submission. You know what I'm saying? Esther and Ruth. The whole basis of it was their submission, okay? But there were other books, okay? But Mary Magdalene had one. And the entire book was actually about how, the deity Christ taught her how to use the power of her mind to create, and how she has to heal certain things in her thinking in order to reach the kind of power that he has to be able to heal others, to be able to heal yourself. You can't heal nobody till you heal yourself. To be able to heal yourself, heal others, to be able to have certain like supernatural visions, and just the power that deity, carried. He was teaching her how to gain that. Okay. And it has to do with her thinking. And so, all forms of organized religion is bits and pieces of the truth, but they're missing a huge part. And a lot of people, once they become programmed, they're afraid to learn anything else. So there is something called the tree of life. And it took me years to understand the tree of life. But the tree of life is literally a map, okay? From earth, from the dust, from the dirt, how to get from the earth, the earthly realm, up to the heavens. The tree of life is literally hell. How do you come from hell and go up to heaven? Okay. Heaven and hell are not literal places. They're states of mind. Okay. You can create your head. You can be in hell now. You can be in heaven. It's your choice. But the tree of life it was made into a diagram because it's an abstract, it's an abstract philosophy. Okay. Excuse me. Son, go upstairs right now. You see I'm doing something. You were not supposed to come down here. Now. Excuse me. Being a mom right now. So here's kind of what the diagram looks like. Okay. So it's because you have to put it in a visual sense of how you can be able to comprehend it. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like this. And this is the bottom. This is where they, start from the bottom. And now we're here, right? And so I bought these cards some years ago to kind of help show the visualizations of how you have to move through these. So for example, this would be your first one. This is the Malkuth. This is called Malkuth. This is the earth, the bottom. And you literally, these circles are spheres of consciousness. This very top one is when you've reached your Kether, your Godhead. This is your throne. This is your heaven up here. And this is where you become unstoppable. Okay, people can do what they want to do. Here's where all your money is. Here's where all the love is. Here's all the abundance, the power, the healing abilities, the knowledge, the wisdom. Here's how you become unbreakable and unstoppable when you reach this. But you have to move through all these different other spheres of thinking. You have to overcome these other spheres of thinking in order to get here. And this is how you become unstoppable. This is literally your map. This is the tree of life. Okay. Some diagrams have a literal tree and they start from the root and they, show the spheres of consciousness or whatever, how we are to move through them. Okay. So for example, let me show you, the very bottom where we begin at in life is called the Malkuth. Okay. This is the kingdom. This is the very bottom right here. And so what you have to do, when people really figure out what you have to do, they don't want this. They don't want this because this is not an easy journey. It's basically like when a monk or a nun decides to answer their calling, to dedicate themselves to, you know, their monasteries or their religion or their, you know, God or whatever, you know. Even in the Buddhist tradition, when people decide to become, you know, that sort of person, they have to walk away from a lot of things and people. They have to walk away from a lot of material things that most people desire. Even in the church, a pastor has to, you know, make a decision to live separately from certain things. And in the spiritual community, it's the same way. As you move through these mindsets and you overcome everything, you know, you have to separate yourself from the mundane. You have to separate yourself from surface matters. You know, some people say the matrix. You have to separate yourself from certain people, places, and things in order to process yourself, you know, because a lot of this has to be done in isolation, alone. You know what I'm saying? But the universe or the Most High, Creator, God, however you want to say, has to send people, places, have to send people and groups of people to you to help you process yourself. Okay. And the universe has to put you in certain places to help you process through these mindsets to get you to where you have to go. So a lot of things that you go through, a lot of people that you encounter, they're not by chance. It's not a coincidence. They're strategically put on your path to cause difficulty for you. They're strategically put on your path to break your heart, to steal from you, to challenge you, to do certain things, because you're you know, God is getting you through these spheres. That's the only way you can overcome them. You know what I'm saying? You have to, in order to overcome these mindsets and be raised up to where you're crowned, you know what I'm saying? You have to go through these things and overcome them. You know what I'm saying? You have to fight these things and win. And once you win and you become solid in a certain way of thinking, then you can move to the next cycle, okay? The next processing. And a lot of these things that have to happen to you or situations you get in are going to be life altering, heartbreaking. Some of these things you may feel like you're not going to make it through. Some things have to be very traumatic and very devastating, okay? Because it's testing your strength in certain areas. But if you could just, well, you know, just believe, like you just have to know, you have to choose your higher self each and every time. And so your higher self is your North Node personality, okay? So when you go into your natal chart, for those of you that understand what a natal chart is, you know you have a South Node and you have a North Node. You have a South Node and you have a North Node. Your South Node is your karma, is where you gain all your karma and your life lessons. So there's a zodiac sign that sits at the bottom of your natal chart. Any negative aspects of this particular zodiac sign that's in your South Node, when you operate in those negative characteristics, this is how you gain your karma. This is how you gain life lessons. This is how you can bring, you know, bullshit upon yourself that you got to keep working through. And the idea is to move away from this way of being up here to your North Node. Your North Node, there's going to be a zodiac sign up here. This North Node is going to be basically any positive aspects, okay, of that zodiac sign. As long as you keep operating in this consistently, you'll always have justice. You'll always have victory. You'll always have the love you need, the money you need. This is your Godhead. That's where you're supposed to be. So, you know, for example, if you have a if you have a South Node in Pisces. Pisces is a very beautiful sign. I have a child that's a Pisces. One of the most beautiful beings I've ever had the chance to encounter. And I'm glad I'm, you know what I'm saying, her mother. But there's beautiful things about Pisces, okay? They're very intuitive, they're visionaries, they're usually very artistic, very sweet, very empathic, very psychic, you know what I'm saying? Very intelligent. They could be mean though. But their negative aspects is the fact that they're visionaries and they're dreamers. They can be so much of a visionary and so much of a dreamer that they don't do anything. That's all they do is sit back and daydream about all the possibilities and visualize all the good things, but they never truly take action. Okay. And so once you start working through that aspect of yourself and stop sitting around dreaming and coming up with all these great ideas and never truly executing anything, and now you're mad because this person got this job or this career, they started their own business, they moved to this house and they got this going on, and now you're sitting back envious or upset or comparing yourself when all you had to do was just do something. You the one that's sitting back daydreaming all day. That's not their fault. You know what I'm saying? And so some people get really stuck in that mode. They have great ideas. They're very creative, and they can do things that can make them rich and whatever else, have all the love, but they have an issue moving their feet, putting some action behind it and staying focused on one thing. They tend to be all over the place, okay, because they are so visionary, they can see everything. And so they're here to work that out, overcome that natural ability to just daydream and just be a talker and not a doer, okay? And so you go through these different spheres of consciousness, these different states of mind, different things happen to you in your life to help work that out of you, because it's keeping you stagnant. It's keeping you from everything that you want. And typically most of us want to blame everybody else around us, and we don't want to take personal accountability for why our life is standing still. It's not going anywhere. Okay. So let's say, for example, the North Node is Aries on this person. So Aries is an action. You know what I'm saying? It's passion, it's movement, it's impulse, it's fiery. You know what I'm saying? So the point in your life is to move from your South Node in Pisces, because you keep getting karma right there. Being like that is to move through let these things happen to you and make sure you make the right choices along the way. Okay, you may have to leave some people, places, and things behind as you move up your tree and get to that Aries North Node and stay there. Okay, get yourself to the point where you know how to overcome inaction. You know how to overcome procrastination. So now you're taking action in your life. You have a vision, you're executing it, you're networking, you're doing what you got to do to make things happen. Then boom, it's here. And now that it's here, you actually don't even have to do a lot, because all the people that you need for your business or creative venture, they're coming, they're giving you this, they're giving you that. You're just, you're moving, and it's like, bam, now you're living this life that you never thought you could ever have. And you have this life that's just amazing. You're like, man, it's because you're now in your North Node of Aries, but you have to stay there. Okay. As soon as you become complacent, you're going to move back, and then you're going to get some karma for not doing something. A lot of times, we get karma for doing something, but there's a lot of karma to be had for not doing the right thing, or not taking action or something, or not taking an action on that opportunity. Somebody else will grab it before you, and now you mad. You know what I'm saying? So that's just an example. Those are not my signs in my natal chart, but that's just an example. So as long as you stay in the Aries North Node, you'll always, as long as you keep moving on what you see, what you hear, what you create, you'll have all the money you need. You won't want for anything. That's the whole point. Get to know your South Node characteristics, and these are the things that hold you back, and these are the things where you make choices and you bring karma upon yourself. Even the types of relationships that you get in, you'll bring karma on yourself based on your South Node way of thinking. So, and when you move through your spheres of consciousness, get to your North Node. Once you get there, Kate, that's you on your throne. You are on your throne. Nobody can take that from you. There's nothing they can do, because typically they're still on the bottom anyway. So they can't even reach you up there. People gonna say things. They're gonna attack you. They're not gonna believe in you. They're gonna think you're crazy. That's fine. Let them think. We can't care about that, because this is your personal path. You're trying to get to your destiny. And the thing is, all those naysayers and things like that, for real, they're purposely strategically put there so you can keep pushing. You can keep going. You're supposed to have people on your back trying to pull you back to your south node, but that's the whole point of it. You got to keep shaking them off and get up to that north node. So they're actually doing what they're supposed to do. Okay, the point is you cannot get distracted by that. You have to understand their purpose. Their purpose is to make me push harder. Okay, not give up, not go back to whatever. And then sometimes we have to be in certain states of mind to understand how to overcome it. So people will kind of maybe be used to you being a certain way. Let's say you was somebody that went to jail all the time, or you was, a bad teenager, you was in gangs and stuff, and now you're taking your personal journey seriously. You're like, okay, I don't want to live like this. This is what I want. This person has it, and I know I got it in me. So let me do something different. And so you start shaking up all these belief systems, all these family members that don't want to do nothing different, all this weird stuff. You start shaking that stuff off, all the temptations to go back to being however you was when you kept going to jail. You keep shaking that stuff off. And so what happens is people want to keep you in that state of mind because that's all they remember you. When you start switching your mindsets, it literally changes you and it changes their environment. So you start to become unrecognizable. Okay. So they're only going to recognize you when you were in your Malkuth, when you were in your flesh. They're only going to recognize you here. When you start moving through these other circles, you're going to be unrecognizable. And these people are going to think you have lost your mind because they themselves don't understand what you're doing. So they're going to fear you, and now they're going to attack. They're going to talk crazy. They're going to say you done did this, you did that. But that's the point. So real quick here, for example, so in the Malkuth, which is the bottom, that is where inertia is, greed, learning to overcome inconsistencies. In your home life, stable home life, making sure your finances are together. This is where you deal with any jealousy, envy, comparing yourself to other people. This is where you get your vessel, the earthly self. This is where you get your earthly body together. Okay, your 3D, your tangible things in life. Your money, your jobs, your car. You get stable within your being, within yourself. Okay, you start to deal with. Things will come along that might make you feel like you want to be jealous of somebody or envy or somebody. But what are you going to do with that feeling? Are you going to compete with somebody that's not even competing with you? Are you going to try to grapple and take everything that they have? Or are you going to deal with, why do I feel like I can't have what's for me? Why am I doing this to this person? What's going on with me where I don't have enough confidence to pull my stuff out of me so I can be great as well? This is where you deal with that in the Malkuth, okay? And so and the virtue that comes out of that, when you start overcoming those mindsets and just being worried about things that just don't matter, looking good on social media. Oh, they went on a vacation. I want to go on a vacation. Now you're going to put yourself in debt to go on a vacation because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's where you deal with that. And so when you overcome that stuff, hold on one second.